Hi, this is Sriyank Siddhartha and welcome to the next video of this course of Java Fundamentals and Basics. Now, from the recent few videos, we were discussing about the object-oriented programming in Java. So let us now proceed forward and check out the static keyword. Now, as a beginner, you might face difficulty to understand the static variables, methods, block, and nested classes in Java. But static keyword is one of the most important concepts when it comes to the object-oriented programming in Java. So let us now proceed and check out what do we mean by the static keyword. So first of all, let's understand what is a non-static variable and what is a static variable. So here we have some class employee, inside which I have a string name and string company equal to Smartherd. So whatever objects that we create for the employee class will have the same company name of Smartherd because all the employees belong to the same company, right? So here if I create employee E1 equal to new employee, then inside the heap memory we will have the D1 object suppose created, and inside the heap memory we will have the field variable of string name and string company. Now similarly inside the stack memory we will have the E1 reference variable created. Now this E1 will simply point to D1 object created inside the heap memory. So till now I guess no doubt. Now similarly if I create E2, then it will simply create D2 object inside the heap memory that contains again name and company. Now again inside the stack memory we will have E2 pointing to D2, right? Again pretty simple. Now if you notice one thing here, both the employees D1 and D2 are having the same company name Smartherd. So don't you think it is just a waste of memory? Yes, it is. So here comes the static variable into picture. So in case of static variable, what do we do? Inside the class employee, I will have the string name and I will have string company having the prefix of static. Now here on the left hand side, I just have the string company, but here I have static string company equal to Smartherd, right? Now suppose if I create object E1 and E2, then inside the heap memory, I will have D1 and D2 object created. And respectively, these are the reference variable of E1 and E2. Now, if you notice inside the heap memory of D1 and D2 object, here I just have the string name and string name. We don't have the string company here. Using the static keyword with the variable name has simply prevented the Java virtual machine to allocate memory for this string company, because the Java virtual machine simply knows that this variable is static, so you don't need to associate it with the objects. And now the question arises, what about this static string company where it is actually created? Now this string company is actually created in the class area. So when the program is executed and the Java virtual machine simply loads the class, then this static variable is actually allocated some space in the class area, right? So this string company is actually common to D1 and D2. But remember, this string company is actually not associated with the object. It is only associated with the employee class. So the question arises, how can I access the company name for the objects of D1 and D2? So for that, the answer lies in the next slide. So here, what do we have? Here we have the same heap memory with D1 and D2 object containing name and company, and here as well we have the heap memory of D1 and D2 object having string name, and the Smartherd company variable lies outside in the class area. Now here I have E1 and E2 object, and here as well I have E1 and E2 object. Now here in the first case, that is in case of non-static variable, here we already know that string company has been allocated memory twice. That is, we are just wasting the memory here. And in our first case, the syntax to access the string company is pretty simple. You can simply call E1.company or E2.company, like we access any methods or variables with the help of class object. But now, coming to the right hand side, in case of static variable, how can we access this company Smartherd? Here we already know that string company has been allocated memory only once, no matter how many objects are created. So the advantage of the using the static variable is that here the string company gets memory for just once, so it is actually memory efficient. So the primary purpose of using the static variable is to save the memory, that is, make your code or application the memory efficient. And now the syntax to access the static variable is simply use the class name employee dot company. So here on the right hand side, no matter how many objects you have, you can simply call class name followed by dot operator followed by the static variable name. And always remember at the end, this static variable company has nothing to do with the objects of D1 and D2. It is only associated with the class, not the objects. So at the end, let us check out the properties. So the static variables are not associated with the objects. It only belongs to the class. And the syntax to access the static variable is class name followed by the variable name, right? For example, employee.company. So the advantage, as we all know, that it makes your program memory efficient. And now proceeding forward, let us now check out the static methods. Now similar to static variables, we have static methods in Java. So the syntax to define the static method is just attach the static keyword before defining any method. So nothing too complex here as well. So here let us take an example, such as here we have class rectangle, inside which suppose I have a method public int get area, within which I will simply return the area of the rectangle. And inside the rectangle class, I have more methods and variables, right? And on the right hand side, here I have the class rectangle, but here this time I am having the getArea method that has the modifier of static keyword here. So this method is actually known as the static method in Java because we are using the static keyword here. So this method again returns the area of the rectangle, and this class contains more methods and variables apart from this method. Now coming to the left hand side, how can we get the area of a particular rectangle? So for that, inside the main method, what you will do, you will simply create the object of the rectangle even. And then you will simply call even.getArea, pass the value, length and breadth, and you will get in return the area of the rectangle. As simple as that. Use the object to access any method and get the area and store it inside the int area variable. Pretty simple. And now coming to right hand side, as we all know, the static methods and variables are only part of the class, not the part of objects. So here we can simply use rectangle, which is the class name, dot get area, and simply pass the value. So to access the static methods, it is similar to accessing any variable, class name followed by variable name or method name. So this method will simply return the area of the rectangle. So here if you notice, we did not create any objects to access the method. We just used the class name. So now let us come to properties of the static methods. So the static methods do not require any object to get accessed. And then the static methods are just a part of the class, not the object. Always remember this. And now proceeding forward, you must be thinking throughout the series that why do we have public static void main method? Fine. So why do we have main method preceded with the static keyword? So here the code snippet that we see in the IntelliJ IDE looks like this, right? Public static void main string arguments. So this is the static keyword that makes our method main as static. So why do we have the static keyword here? Why do we need it? Now the reason for this is that to call a static method, no object is required. We are all aware of this from this video, right? So the Java virtual machine need not create a separate object to call this main method. So when you execute your program, the Java virtual machine simply calls this method when the class loads without creating the object of the class. So the Java virtual machine does not allocate any separate memory for this method. With the help of just the class name, it simply executes the main method, and your code inside the main method is executed. Fine. So that is why we have the static keyword in case of main method. Now in the next video, we will check out the demo video of the static keyword. So meanwhile, if you like what you saw, please subscribe to my channel Smartherd and do comment below the video. Again, please like and share. Thank you and have a good day.